Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. In today's video, we're looking at the Elder Tree and an amazing post made by Grub. Now, I want to give the shoutouts where they're due. I believe this one was just by Grub. If I'm wrong, I will leave everything in a pinned comment. But designed by Aioli. Apologies if I destroy that name, I do apologize. But big shout out to these guys. Now, I'm also assuming they've used a lot of data from, we went through one of these posts before by InSeason, and I'm tipping this is where a bunch of information came from as well. So I wanted to give a shout out to InSeason. And as you can see, Grub, Sero, and Ensign were all involved in this as well. So shout out to everyone in the community. Basically, if I missed anyone, I will leave it in a pinned comment. That's the most important thing at the start. So, this, as you can see, is a 12-page post. I will leave it linked in the description if you want to go look through it. I'm going to go through it, cover it in the basic form, and if you guys want to read more in depth into things, then you can do that. I'm going to look at it over here on Imager because it's just an easier format to scroll through it than selecting each image, opening up in a new tab, and all that sort of stuff. So what I might do is zoom in. Can I zoom in a little bit? It doesn't really work too well. Rip the dream. We'll just leave it like this. So first of all, we have the trusty tree tear. The trusty tree tear down. I actually hadn't read that. That's pretty good. So this first page is sort of basically like the breakdown of key breakpoints for each tree, and down under each class, you can see the general rating of the class and the value in them, which does get more elaborated on in future pages. So basically, key breakpoints, you got your 9s. You can see where celerity is really nice. You get that 22, then you get the 42. Same with mage. So the handy thing about these two trees being the two key carry trees, like that's why you're going to get those breakpoints for them. They're going to be your main damage heroes, but that's just key breakpoints. Like I said, I want to go into this next screen to get a better image of what we're looking at. You know what? I might go PC right cam. Let's do that. That looks better. And then I'm not in the way. That's better. Okay. So this is a fantastic flowchart. If you're stupid like me, you go flowchart, GG. So you basically start with all of them. You begin there. Choose your main branch, whether it be celerity or mage. I feel like most people still will be celerity, but just because celerity, like I know a lot of people will be just getting irons or something like that, but celerity just has so many good carries in my opinion. Most of my accounts would just be straight celerity for this. Raise all branches to 9, cool beans. Raise your main branch to 22, which for me would be celerity, you might be mage. Now this next bit, there's a bit of room for interpretation here. Raise your main branch to 42 is the next key point, and then you've got the next breakpoints for these, which is 37 for warrior. Now keep in mind with this, if you're not using warrior, you probably put a little less emphasis on it. You know, if you're using like Saurus and Ulna, and Zolrath and Queen and who else is there? Isold, a big one. I don't know if I probably already said it. Don't know. Anyway, but if you're not using any of those ones, then you don't have to prioritize the warrior tree as much. Keeping in mind, by the time you're trying to get to 37, you're pretty far into the game, so you may have expanded. But just take everything with a grain of salt, depending on what you actually have built on your account, or also what you're forecasting to build in the next, 3, 4, 5 heroes on your account, because that could impact what your choice is. And then work on these two paths at the same time, getting all those breakpoints over on these ones, and then max both of these as much as possible. So that'll be when you've got the juice, you level up your core tree, you go, okay, let's keep whichever one I'm using main as max, just keep it all the way up, and then like work towards these after you max those, and you sort of do it simultaneously, which is fairly good. Max as much as possible based on priority, and that's basically just showing you the priorities. Once again, similar with the mage and ranger trees, eventually you'll probably go into both of them if you're using carries from both, but pick one early on and focus on it as your main one. Now this page I absolutely love, talking about the barricade manipulation. So this is fantastic because when you focus down on a tree, and they have examples down here, so the basic effect of the barricade, they go through all the requirements here. The depth of time level 32, Trials of God, which you got to complete chapter 27-60 to get. So the cool thing about this is when an allied hero with the highest combat rating suffers fatal damage, the damage is nullified, and the wearer's, it basically gives you a shield out of the wearer's health. But the thing about this is the key thing in the barricade is the combat rating, the highest combat rating character. So whatever your main carries are going to be, that's why it's really nice to focus in on that tree, so you can guarantee that they are going to be like, it gives them that extra stat boost, which, you know, normally your main carry probably going to be a bit more invested in signature items and stuff like that. But in case it's like a, you know, a second or third team carry, they have that additional effect. For instance, Kren, like, I don't think Kren's going to be anyone's first carry. Like, okay, this is a perfect example of like, for like where my accounts might go. So we have a Lucretia. So I've built my Lucretia, got her ascendant. She's my main carry. Happy days. We're going to be going stomping things with Lucretia. Now, past that, my next carries could be something like Raku and Kren, both very decent carries. Raku definitely, because, you know, I just love Raku, and I love Kren as well. But say I got Lucretia as my main carry, and then I go in and build a Raku. Now, he's not fully invested. You know, maybe some of my supports are more invested than him. The fact that we've highly invested into the tree means it will give him those extra stats, raise his combat rating, and he might be above those supports that are in the team with him to be able to make him the one that's protected by the barricade. Same thing with Kren, because obviously we all know Kren loves to commit suicide. So if you can get him to the highest combat rating in the team and have him protected by the barricade when he runs forward and commits suicide, and he stays alive, and then he gets to an ult, it's going to be GG. Now, they've always got examples of, you know, using Grizzle in there as well, and Irons. But in general, you know, if your main carry is something you really don't want to die, Kren is the best example for me, because he just loves to commit suicide. And if you can get him to that highest power, he's protected. Happy days. Now, they do go into a breakdown of each tree, which I'm not going to go too deep in. There is a summary page at the end, so they do a lot of explanations about, you know, the stat bonuses, the abilities that you get, how viable they are, the relevance of the tree in PvP, PvE, and then cost effectiveness based on those breakpoints, and then key heroes, which I really do like looking at the key heroes for this sort of thing. The best one is when we get to the tank tree, and you'll see it's like when we're gonna go look at key heroes for all of them. Just tell me what you notice in the tank tree. So yeah, there you go. You go through some key heroes. Then we go through the sorcery as well. Same sort of stuff. And then we get the key heroes. And like, if you want, you can just look at this and go, key heroes, sweet. I'm not using any of them. I don't really need to worry about that. However, in the ranger tree, I'm using like 6 of them. So let's go with that. But there's discrepancies between it, but you'll get the gist of it. But meta relevance for mage, very, very high. So it's all about what you're really focusing on. So then we go into the might tree. Once again, we go through the meta relevant characters. And this is where I said the might is very niche. But like I said, when you go back to the flowchart of when it says to start investing in might, you might have built a few of these guys. So we got Soros, we got Olna, we got Isolde, Estrilda, Wukong, Queen, Zolrath, those type of characters, which not, like, I don't think a lot of people are going to have a heap of these built early on. Like I said, Mage and Ranger are definitely more focused in on. But yeah, you know, if you don't have any of these guys, you can give it a miss for a bit, but eventually you're probably going to look at building some of them. Next up, we go to Fortitude. So this is my favorite one. Let's look at the key heroes. What do you notice funny about this image? Please tell me you guys notice it. Please tell me you notice it. Damon doesn't have Stitchy, which is okay, but Screg doesn't have his iron jaw, and it looks like, okay, it looks like Damon has just thrown Screg. It's like he's just gone like this, and Screg's going, eh. I loved it. It was my favorite part of the Beth guide. It was so funny when I looked at it. I'm probably just an idiot, and you guys are like, this guy is losing it. Yes. Yes, I am. But there's your relevant heroes in the tank class. And then, as you can see, Celerity, it's really quite highly ranked. So there we go. We got the Iron, we got the Lucretia, we got the Raku, Kren, we got the Leica, we got the Pharrell, we got the Prince, and there is a bunch more as well. Then we go into these sort of analytical things, which I don't want to go into too deep. These are very, very fine details. If you're like a Mega Whale end game player, you will have some use for this, but it's basically just going off what stats each class does get through the time. We covered this sort of stuff in the last time when I looked at this, probably 6 months ago to a year ago with InSeason, but I don't want to go too deep into those. And then here we have the summaries page. So This is the build paths for each one, and then you've got the overall flowchart again, just in a more condensed version. Then the basically who gets the most stats from each stat, like which class gets the most out of each stat. You can see which ones get which stats. You can see, like, obviously, you know, support and tanks getting haste is quite nice for their abilities. Crit damage is pretty nice. You know, dodge, you can see that not everyone gets everything. Like, warriors are the only one that gets the life leech, stuff like that. And then for all the other stats, you can see who gets the most. Then we go down to here. They have a quick recap on the barricade, which, once again, I think that barricade thing is a really nice point to narrow down on. And then they go through each specs, you know, basic general gist of it, like key heroes, the viability, the breakpoints, and then each sort of viability section, which is really nice. So a good general summary, but like I said, most players probably going to focus on celerity mainly, and then you can just follow that flowchart at the start of the post. Some people may go for the mage tree, but for me, the mage tree, it's like you'd be doing irons, and then you might do like an Odin sort of portal party thing, because the rest are very like more niche type characters. Whereas if we go to celerity, you've obviously got Iron, which everyone's happy to build. You got Pharrell, just generally great. You got Leica, everyone's going to build that. Lucretia, who's probably the #1 choice for stargazing. So there's like just really good heroes, and then we've got the niche ones that you can build later on, like Raku and Kren, who are still very functional, but that's where that investment really comes into making the barricade manipulation. But as you can see, in general, the celerity tree just offers the best value for investment overall. But that is going to be the end of the guide. Fantastic post, so much effort put into these things. Make sure you jump over to Reddit and give it an upvote, because like the amount of time and effort that goes into this is just insane to me. To put 12 pages together of a guide on the tree, which I swear if this sort of thing didn't exist, a lot of players just wouldn't even care. So I think a lot of people who are watching this now probably have a very untuned tree, and they're going to go, oh, okay, well, this is actually quite easy. I didn't really know what I was doing. Now I'm sorted. But anyway, guys, big shout out once again to Grub and all the guys who are involved in this. Thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.